Oh, man. Well, we're starting to get settled in over here with 2024, aren't we? You know? Seems like everything is starting to get smooth around here. Nothing's out of place. Nothing seems to be, all sorts of whack. Everything is just going to be smooth, such as like all those goals and things that some of you took the time to plan. They're finally happening, right? Right? Hell no, man. We're pretty much in 2023's Big Brother, all right, because it's getting worse. It seems like people have gotten even more deranged now. But we can't let that stop us, but we might as well talk about it right now, because welcome to the J-Man Show here on
J360 Radio!
Hey, how's it going, J360 Legion? What is happening? Welcome to episode 321 of the J-Man Show. I'm your host, J-Man, of course, and here we are back on J360 Radio. I know it was supposed to have been a Hangouts night, but seemed like Hangouts got hung up. I mean, a lot of different things happened, and it just didn't take place like it was supposed to. But, you all still need something, and I'm here, so I say, hey, let's just go ahead and run with the J-Man Show today. And it's very interesting because it seems like a lot of my contingency plans have come into play throughout the whole week, because it's not just doing stuff here at J360 Productions, but it's also doing things out and around the state, not to mention like for my day job and other side hustles that I wanted to do. But yeah, it's just like nothing fired off pretty well except for like the wind coming along and ripping some of the scaffolding off of my apartment. But I'm okay and everything, and luckily the builders came and repaired it, but it's still like, oh man, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's been a wild time here in 2024, and I gotta say, where do I get off? Nah, not yet, guys. It's still too soon for that. Because it's only January. We haven't seen what February, March, and April look like yet. Keep that in mind. Not to mention how many people are all scared about the election coming up later on in November and everything. Well, no, not November, right? No, I'm just kidding. I'm playing with you guys. Yeah, definitely November. Look, only thing I can say is, okay, this is the start of 2024. This is also Year of the Dragon. This is also where, like, you look at things and they're not always that bad. You see, even though, like, Hangouts got canceled there for a little bit, the show's not canceled. It's just the episode's on hold until we can go ahead and rework the plan. It's just like, everything is set and ready to go. Like, I'm ready to fire that whole thing up, and I know the rest of the guys that are working with me want to be on it and everything, so it's going to take care of itself. It's just, today was one of those odd days where things didn't work. And just like, if anything else, I'm always going to be doing the J-Man Show, no matter where it is. And if you were very astute enough, you could see that on J360 TV, there was a little hint of a certain series going over there as well. So, like one way or another, I'm just glad to know that the stuff works and that, we can just go ahead and keep chipping away and keep going for things. Now, there is a little matter of me taking a look at the social media that I have around here. Yes, the same old problems are there. The algorithm. But the thing about the algorithm is, sometimes we're just going to have to hit it with a little bit of things. And I still got a lot in me. So I'm going to keep going for mine. You know what I mean? I'm in it to win it. I'm not stopping anytime soon. And I'm going to go ahead and do what needs to be done. Because allegedly now people are crying about, certain things that you should have at certain times. Now I don't know how you all have grown up. But I can tell you from my experience, I used to get like the whole time clock thing. Like, say like if you had a parent or a guardian or sorts that would tell you, hey, at this certain point in your age, you got to have this, otherwise you're going to be blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, at 25, you had to have graduated college. Yeah. Like my father used to do that to me all the time. And I'll be honest with you, I'm glad that I disappointed him. In that regard, yeah, because here's the thing. Why am I rushing my life? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay that you got your college degree when you were 30. It's okay that you get your first apartment when you're in your 40s. It's okay that you get your first house when you're 50. There is nothing wrong with that. As long as you're alive and you have the money and the will and the ability to do it. You know, but I noticed this, like, people always will rush somebody, whether it's someone younger than them or all this other stuff, because I guess in their lifetime they feel like life going away and they want to be able to see things. But you know, the thing about it is, the ones that write you off because you did not get to their times table like you should have. You understand what I'm saying? I can't stand those kind of people because more or less they're over here throwing unnecessary pressure on you. They're over there gatekeeping on you. They'll try to call you names. They'll try to ridicule you. Have the strangest behavioral patterns ever because you didn't do things according to their playbook. And that's what me and my dad used to have a lot of arguments growing up. Like I said, I looked up to the man, and he was a great role model and everything, and I'm glad to have had him in my life, trust me. But I also know that some of his stuff was flawed. I also know, like, some of his stuff wasn't going to apply to me no matter what I did. You understand? So I had to find a way to live life pertaining to me. Even though at the same time with the recessions that were going on and working at the soda company was really a pain in the ass because there were times where, like, you know, I was very concerned about my back and my knees and they wanted me to do all this crazy shit such as like hop amongst the pallets, get stuff down from the higher stack, you know, one by one, like to do all this crazy ass industrial revolution kind of behavior, and I'm not even insured at this time. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, if I busted my knee or if I busted my back while doing any of that crazy-ass labor, I'm not insured. It's going to be me paying out of pocket. And you know, at those kind of times, they didn't really want to pay nobody like anything. And they knew what the problem was. You know, it just seems like adulthood has been one tsunami after another when it came to having the essentials so that more or less you can look like you're a person of society. So that you can look like that you're actually being successful in some way. Even though, at the end of the day, if you're not careful, this crap will make you sick. I would say it would kill you, but not necessarily. Maybe soul crush you a little bit, but I wouldn't say, like, you know, kill you. It's just unnecessary, like, when people put those kind of pressures on you. I mean, hey, you got to be something for them to actually acknowledge you as a person, right? I mean, it's not like you're a person that's actually going out there, working in a job that you dislike, trying to go to a college that you really can't enjoy because you got to go ahead and focus on the work and everything. Going to other places that don't seem to serve you well, or even working in places that, you know, you can't even shop from. How sick is that, right? And I remember a long time ago saying this when I started doing this series. You know, there is the whole thing where, like, all of these institutions are designed to make us fail. Every single one of them. Like, certain things that you said, like, you know, certain buildings, certain government-funded assistance kind of places that you didn't even think that you were going to deal with. All of a sudden, now you got to deal with them. You know, it's just wild how, like, those surprises can be. But here's the thing. Surprise everybody, all right? Try to go against the grain a little bit. Build in secret. Do not put all of your business out there on social media. Like, for me, myself, it has really nothing to do with J360 Reductions. Why the hell am I putting it on my page? You know what? For a cheap laugh and all that crap? No, I can do this stuff 10 times better because I have the content and the body of work for it. You know what I mean? Now, there are moments where I will take, like, motivation and I'll share it to you guys. Like, you know, when I see, like, other clips that sound really good. But note, I will never share a thing of Steve Harvey on my programs. Oh, by the way, we'll dive into that a little bit later, but there are moments where, like, it's like this. When you see certain things that tell and can give you that additional effort to keep going, you know, take it. But don't use any of them vague, any of those vague statements out there that are not going to work for you. Or any of those statements where, like, you know, any of these gurus out here want to make some money off of you because, hey, once again, if I give you a shot of optimism and I tell you what you want to hear, you're going to love me forever, right? But you see, the thing is, most of these people don't tell you that you have to actually put some work behind those words. You had to actually own up to it. And then here's another thing. You're going to have to own up to your flaws. Like I said, my dad wasn't 100% perfect about things, but he was on the money of other things. And while he had flaws, I had to look at those flaws like they're just a part of him. Just like some of the flaws, like when I say certain things about, J360 jams and stuff like that, it's only to maintain the credibility and the standards of that brand, of that product. You know what I mean? It's not to say anything against y'all as a person, because really, as people, I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you think about it, I know about the work that you make. I know about like the stuff that you create and what you want to do. But I also know like certain people are not about working as a group. Certain people are about themselves. And then I also know how certain people I have not met yet and have not had the pleasure of working with. And I'm trying to reach out to them in addition to like building a strong community. It's not anything against you. It may not even apply to you. Especially if you carry yourself well and you're willing to work with me. Those are the things to look into. It isn't always like me yelling behind this mic and stuff like that. It's just there's a lot of stupid things in our society that once again that we as a species inflict on ourselves and make it harder to live in. You know? And still carrying the same crap pay all the time. And that's not really all that fun. You understand what I'm saying? Like, for certain circumstances, I remember when I started doing this stuff, and I had like a lot of podcast friends. I had a lot of content creating, and content creators wanted to work with me until I started utilizing my standards and started saying like, okay, I don't do that. I'm not any part of any of that kind of stuff. I speak about my own identity, the own things I want to do and things. And it just doesn't work for people. They get mad, they get pissy, they go ahead and walk away. Or, I had somebody at one time freak out because I enjoyed Ace Ventura the movie. Yeah, it's gotten that bad. Just like any of these things where people take immediate outrage with somebody, I done went through that. You understand what I'm saying? I don't have a hard time dealing with it because I went through a lot dealing with the people that brought me here. And it's funny too because they had all these expectations and everything. But I told them this. I said, look, I didn't ask to be born. But since I'm here and I'm all I got and the way that you are all acting, I'm going to go ahead and bet on me before I bet on anybody else. And then once again, I never needed any fixing. Like a lot of people, and this is a lot of elders do this crap, where they always try to redirect you. They always try to say an idea that you have is not going to work out and all this other crazy stuff. That idea will work out. It probably won't be as easy as anybody else's idea was, but that idea could have been something. And when you're out here trying to break generational curses and all that kind of crap, my mother would talk to me all the time about working. Like she loved going to work. And I was like, I've been going to work, and let me just tell you this. It's not that fascinating. It's really not that great. There is nothing about it that tells me that, oh, I'm really making a difference. It's just being a cog in a wheel sometimes, especially with some of the jobs that I've had, such as working in warehouses, doing a little factory work, working in retail and taking the general merchandise off the truck and then putting general merchandise on the truck. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I felt like I belonged. It's just that, I knew rent was due and I had to go ahead and make something out of myself anyway. And I never had a problem with the grind too much. But I knew it wasn't my life, Now, a lot of y'all see me here doing all the J360 stuff, and you're like, how the hell does he have time to do all those things? Well, I guess that's the cool thing about embracing the grind. But that's what I used to say throughout my first few years doing this stuff. And, I always had, a plan, and I knew that episode needed to get made, and I knew you all needed something from me. That's why I was like, hey, let me just go ahead and knock all this stuff out. In a way, what I'm telling you is, I don't want to throw, that whole thing about, well, if you do something you love to do, you'll never feel like you worked a day in your life. You already know that. What I'm saying is that you think about the long game. You think about the mission that you have for yourself. All right? Like you yourself. Right now, make the world small. It doesn't even matter. See, It might be that moment in time where you realize that everybody liked you and wanted to see you succeed. Now that you put some effort into it so that you could succeed, people are really starting to get kind of scared, get concerned, or at the same time get so wrapped up in their insecurities, they don't want to even see you try, so they try to hold you down. I'm sure a lot of y'all are going through that with this algorithm and all that jazz. And let me just tell you this, it's very real. But that's why you got to go back to yourself. The mission you have for yourself, the mission that you wanted to do. Because some people are just here for the popularity, and when, let's say like the algorithm comes in and it's like, oh, you have to have a certain percentage by this view count, or you have to have like this many clicks and all this other stuff so that you can be something of meaning. At the end of the day, that's just dystopian as hell too. I smell it indeed. Because it's not even about your self-fulfillment. It's about marking every box on that algorithm. Now, that's not cool. As artists, we really should make fun of that. We should really unite and rip a new one in the algorithm instead of complaining about it. And then there's moments where, like with Instagram itself, it's supposed to help your business grow. But I'm ready to kick Instagram to the curb because it's not doing anything for the brand. I mean, granted, I keep a good connection with the people that are still there because I actively pursue it. You know what I mean? I can't leave it in the hands of the machines to do it. I have to actively go for it. Almost like a door-to-door salesman. And then, you work on that email listing. You work on all those important things because that is important. Not like, oh, well, we're going to leave it to the machine to handle it. Oh, yeah, I paid for the boost for my impressions. Impressions are okay, but they're not enough. You understand what I'm saying? You want it out there with actual organic growth. And not only that, you're seeing like the whole thing's a racket. The whole thing that we see with the social media and everything is a rat race. And the sad part about it is that there are people out there that benefited off of it too long. They'll try to deny that claim. Oh, yeah, as many times like anything, there's a lot of Cat Williams in all of us because like when Cat Williams went out there and said everything he needed to say on Club Shay Shay, it's like, look, he's been saying that for a long time. And the truth is that now everybody's starting to pay attention. Once again, being a truth teller is not all it's cracked up to be because you're going to lose a lot of friends, you're going to lose a lot of followers, but well, hey, whatever. The point is that, at least you didn't sell yourself out. And then you knew exactly who was with you and who wasn't. Like, I don't even have to go to Los Angeles for that. I got to deal with all that crap right here doing all these things for, let's say, like half of the J-Man shows Rise, in addition to throughout J360 Jams. Or even with, like, Project Conference sometimes. Like when some people ask me why did I distance myself away from a certain content creator, is because they cross-dress. No, it's not because of that. It's because of what they did to another content creator for 9 months. You see what I'm saying? People will always try to go for those little things instead of understanding the real reasons. And then once they figure out the real reason, it's going to be too late. We all done left it alone. We all done walked away and all these other things. That's a problem. You see? And I've met a lot of great people doing this stuff, and I've met a lot of trash people doing this stuff. I fought a lot of gatekeepers doing this whole thing. And I'm going to keep on doing it, man. And just like what he said about Steve Harvey, it's like you guys are just finding out now that Steve Harvey is a fake, that he's not all he's cracked it to be. He's no different than T.D. Jakes. But he wrote a damn book, didn't he? And even then, there's a lot of controversy about that. And then not to mention all the wives he had. He only had 3, but let me tell you this current one here, yeah, she be pulling some tricks too, and that's how they actually got together. And then what's really funny to me is like when people dive into, sometimes some job facts that people say are pretty important to listen to. But when you hear any of these people who went out there, because lots of people went out there and bought a Blue Yeti, hooked it up to their computer, and think they know what the hell they're talking about. What they didn't tell any of you all is whatever somebody is saying, like for example me, when I'm speaking across this mic and I'm telling you things on the J-Man show, these are things that I went to. You know what I mean? These are things that I had to come across and I had to learn. Those are my perspectives that I'm telling all of you. But let me just tell you this, it doesn't mean that you had to go through it, and hopefully you didn't have to. You know? Some of y'all get so impressionable, you think that your life is the same as a content creator's life. In terms of like your relationships and stuff like that. There have been many people who broke it off out of good relationships and good marriages because they listen to a bunch of burnt out people that are behind mics, that are saying whatever the hell they're going through and all that kind of stuff, and being so, you know, let's just say this, they're pretty much riding their crutch because they want you to feel sorry for them. And also buy stuff from them with their NASA, you know, with their say-so and all that kind of crap. They want you to do all those things, but here's the thing. If you're in a relationship where you're happy, if you're at a job where you're happy, if you are living in an apartment, a loft, or building a house and you're happy and you can afford it and you manage to beat what the talk in town is usually saying, why in the hell would you ruin it? Why would you destroy what was good for you? See, what's good for you might not be good for the world. You know what I mean? But it's good for your world. It's important for you. You know? That's why, like, sometimes I take a look at certain things, and any sort of beef that I have with people is not important right now. Whatever I'm trying to do for myself is important. Like, even deciding to do J360 Productions for more years ahead. Because I still got a lot of things and a lot of stories to tell with my brand. And not to mention, like, a lot more to bring out to you all. Like, lots of that J360 TV lineup is just looking slamming. And yes, while Hangouts had a little bit of a hang-up, believe me, it will not have a hang-up for much longer. It's going to be ready to go after a while. You understand what I'm saying? You take notes of your flaws, you take notes of, like, certain things that are not working out, and you have to make your peace with it. It's just like, you know, certain relationships that you did have. I mean, some of y'all are talking about you healing, you doing all this stuff, and once again, you didn't need to tell anybody that. I mean, I'm sure it probably felt good for you to do so, but when you really think about it, like, if you're going to work on losing weight and all, don't tell anybody about it. That's your journey. That's something for you. You understand? It doesn't mean anything to me if you're trying to lose weight. I will go ahead and look at you and say, hey, keep it up, keep it up. But I'm not going to be there checking on you every day. That's not my point. My point is to look and see what I got to do so that I can be the person that I said I was going to be. You know? And I have no regrets on anything regarding this whole content creator journey. I mean, I look at big business all the time. I look at people out here that are getting married and all that stuff. I look at a lot of people and I say, you know what? Good for them. Because the grass is always greener. But my grass can be greener too. All I got to do is water it. All I got to do is go ahead and cultivate and keep working on my foundation, and I'm going to be fine. But a lot of y'all are out here running around nowadays. You're over here trying to take things out of context. You're over here trying to go ahead and ruin other people for some reason. And note when I say y'all, I'm talking about society. Not my fans. My fans know what's up. Real J360 fans do anyway. But any of this other madness that's going on around here because just cuz, or you're not fulfilled, or any of these other things, or whatever the elders in your family probably told you, because, you know, at the end of the day, they might be toxic as hell too, but you looked up to them. The toxicity spreads around here because it's learned, usually. And then there's that moment with toxic positivity where, like, everybody's like, no, you gotta be happy all the time. You gotta go ahead and keep a stiff upper lip. You gotta go ahead and do all this stuff. See, my mom used to do that crap, because she used to always tell me this. I want to be around during the happy times and stuff, and I told her this because I was a teenager and I really didn't give a damn. I said, good, because I don't want to ever deal with you when there's fair weather in my lifetime, because there's no fair weather going on right now. I got to ride through the storm. I don't care what you want to deal with. But I did say it. I was pissed off at the time. Me and my mom have made peace a long time ago, but let me just tell you this. It's like, yeah, you know what? You blew it this time, and all bets are off. I mean, you got to be transparent. You got to say what you need to say. And if they don't like it, good. Because it might have been needed to say. And she understood where I was coming from. Because, see, as we are human and stuff like that. Oh, and this is another thing. Some of y'all are trying so hard to practice stoicism that at the end of the day you fail it. See, the thing about it is stoicism doesn't tell you to ignore your emotions. Some try to, but here's the thing. Stoicism tells you to not give in to your emotions too much. You have to balance this stuff out. Sometimes an emotional response is not always the best response. You got to look at this stuff all the way through. Kind of like you can get mad at people for not showing up to your live show all you want to, or you could just be mindful and say, guess what? I recorded my live show so that anybody can come to it. Or you can understand that certain people have lives outside of yours. We don't all live in the same house. We didn't all grow up in the same background. We didn't all have the same mentors growing up. So you got to feel as though, like, you know, at least I have a message out here. It is up to you to understand and read it. Or listen to it. And I try to instill, like, some comedic moments in addition to things that really give you some food for thought. Like, you know, at the end of the day, I said this. While I don't agree with a lot of things that women do on this planet, there's a lot of things I don't agree with what men are doing. You know, whereas feminism is a problem, the manosphere is another damn problem. And the truth is that, like, both sides are saying a whole bunch of things, like, that don't mean anything. And a long time ago, you would know that a relationship would be based on actually liking each other and working together so that you can make a marriage. Marriage takes work. Weddings, yeah, you can go to a wedding. But I think it's funny as hell, like, when people try, the ones on the outside of the relationship try to dictate who runs things in the relationship and who usually doesn't. Like, if you use the term 50-50, people get bent out of shape about that. I think Gabrielle Union was in the news for one of these African-American publications where they were saying something about, like, how Dwayne Wade and her, like, operate 50-50. And it's like, when you think about it, they're married. No kidding. Like, even when you're in a regular relationship, a relationship is supposed to grow into engagement and then marriage. You know, usually. I mean, if it's serious. And even then, if it's serious, let it be. It's kind of like some of you dudes waiting for them. Yeah. Dudes is another thing. But here's the thing. How do I know they're dudes, right? It's kind of like how some of you people will sit there and wait for, like, the ones that are happily in a couple, you know, that are happily in a relationship or happily in an engagement or anything. And you're sitting there waiting for them to break up. How pathetic are you? You know what I mean? Go meet somebody else. Oh, and this is funny too. When people don't want to meet anybody else. Yeah, okay, you don't want to meet anybody else? Then don't even try. Just keep sitting there. Go have some cats. Go have some pets. Whatever you need to do to hide the wound, even though we all seen it. I mean, trust me, once it's there, it's already revealed. And, like, here's the thing. You ain't hurting nobody but yourself. You understand what I'm saying? It's just like when some of y'all try to be savage and then somebody hits you with a stronger clapback game because they happy being true to themselves, whereas you still lying every day. Yeah, trying to be savage won't fill the hole in your heart, you know? You already busted yourself up with that stuff. Like, some of y'all cannot be smartasses, but you do what you can to try to be a smartass, and then you win the dumb prize and get your ass whooped. And not only your ass, mind you, your spirit, too, because you don't even know who you are at that point. Once you start stammering and start being existential, we already know what kind of problem you are. You know? All of a sudden, the world came to an end. It's the most saddest thing you've ever seen in your life. Oh, but by the way, I'm sure some of you who have seen J360 Jams not too long ago, 82 that is. 83 will be along next Friday, but... So, submit your tracks now, if you will. You need to play now. And if you need to know the rules, they're in the description box below. But I'm sure that some of y'all heard my little bit where I was talking about housing. Yeah, it's gotten to the point where people are criticizing people on their housing again. Like how some people had to move back home, live with their parents a little bit. And, you know, like if you are in your 30s, well, late 20s and... you know, in your late 30s and all that stuff, let me just tell you this, okay? If you are living with your parents, there's probably a reason why you are. And whatever that reason is none of my damn business, including any of these publications floating around out here. You know, it's funny, too, because people who make these comments and make these complaints about anything regarding your lifestyle, are they paying for your house, by the way? Are they making any sort of lease agreement with any of these apartments out here? Because let me tell you this stuff has boiled over ridiculously, and these things, this housing market needs to bust so like people can actually afford things and stuff. And then here's the thing, work on your credit, get your credit up again. There's ways you can get a good home. Don't let them tell you otherwise, and while we're on the subject here, don't let them push you into doing any sort of agreements out here that can really bite you off in the end. You know, some of y'all need to work out your budget, some of y'all need to work on a plan, some of y'all need to still understand what choices you have. And the sad part about it is all these content creators out here behind these mics and stuff, they don't understand like responsibility for the message that you're putting out here, because here's the thing. If you got ready ahead of time and you made it, or if you got a winning hand at some point, enjoy that winning hand. But don't be over here acting like your way is the way of getting where you need to be. Like you are the end all be all and there's no other way. There's always another way. You know? And if certain circumstances did not work out for you, like say like some people say, well, the only real way to make it is to have your own business or actually work in real estate. Okay. Cool, but let's just say this. If everybody was doing that right now, 1, where's the value in it? 2, who's really making the money? 3, why does this sound like an MLM? And 4, at the end of the damn day, am I just screwing myself over and just threw myself into a money pit because of somebody I don't know had a problem with the way I was living my life? And then 5, to hell with them. Do your own thing. So if you're living with your parents, and if that house is paid for, and if your parents are elderly and you take care of them, and if and if they pass away or whatever, and that house is yours, at the end of the day, who really won? Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be mean about stuff, but I am being well-meaning. The fact that people are going around, random-ass people, saying all these damn ideologues, saying all these things out of turn and out of pocket, is what's killing it. It should be a share of ideas. It should be, we're all different, like I say, like with me and my apartment and stuff like that. Like I said, I didn't plan to live here a little bit longer, but I'm going to have to, because my dream home is not exactly where I need to be, and I'm figuring out what it is about me that needs to get to that level. But if I had to go back with mom and pops for a while, shoot, that's none of your damn business. Oh, good luck getting a date like that. Here's the thing. Let me just say this. If I'm going for somebody, and all they can do is see the flaws about me, rather than my pros outweighing my cons, they're not meant to be with me at all anyway. And I'm not wasting my time being with them. Matter of fact, I can point out all the cons and flaws they have. Oh, but then I'm a jerk then. But then, I'm going to be on the feminists' list about, hey, we need to come at them. And like I said, come at me all you want to. Any of you. It ain't going to do nothing. You don't intimidate me. The point is that what I'm saying is something that you can't handle. A good counter argument. And the world around me is ridiculous about this. But like what I'm saying is, guys, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to wages, when it comes to food, when it comes to, entertainment and luxury items and all that stuff, you got to start thinking with a little bit of forethought. And you got to really figure out how things are going to work for you, because everybody is different right now. See, I'm cutting out a lot of luxury items right now because I want things to change up. I want to see how 2024 can be different for me and what differences I can make. By the way, I was going to hit you with a little tidbit about college. Here's the thing. We got time in the show. Here's the thing about college. If there is something out there that's worth doing and that's really going to help you in your career or the plans that you have for yourself in college, go for it. You know what I'm saying? If you can't learn any other way, if Google's not helping you out with learning that stuff on the side and it's for free, or like if you're not going for any of them paid courses and stuff like that, for 6 months, like they used to do those back in the day. I don't know if they still do them now, but I know like certain things do require that piece of paper. And they're not telling you that. Because you know why? Because they figure, oh, AI is going to come around and wipe it out. Not entirely true, and not at this point in time. There is always a reason to go to college. And if you think that it's good for you, go for it. If you don't think it's good for you, fine, whatever. But I'm not going to gatekeep you on stuff like that. Well, me, myself, I'm happy I went to college. Got my degree, proved everybody wrong. It's still up in the air whether I go for my master's, and if I do, it's nobody else's business but mine. But I am looking at other, certifications to take because they can't take it from you. It's just little things like that. What accolades do you want for yourself? And if you want to, it's like saying, oh, don't go to the military because they'll put you through boot camp and all that stuff. Yeah. But here's the thing. Go to the military, not worrying about that. Go to the military because it's going to give you a good career. It's going to give you something that you really wanted. Like if you wanted to get out of your home state and you're always looking for a way to get out there, get out of there, I should say, that might be it for you. You never know. But at the end of the day, if you listen to all these damn people trying to come up with, quick get rich schemes and all these other damn things and stuff remember cryptocurrency? Yeah, that really helped out, right? Yeah, that was limited as hell. Or NFTs, yeah, once again, that was unstable. Most of this instability crap comes from people like them. And I'm not trying to say that Gary Vee is a bad person, but I also know this. There's a lot more to Gary Vee's messages that you need to look outside the box for and say, that's cool, whoever it works for, but that's not going to work for me. And just move on from it. Well, you see, I remember one time I had people sending me messages saying, do you know who Gary Vee is? And I'm like, no, but I'm doing my own thing. But hey, once again, doing your own thing is kind of a cardinal sin to people because it can't control you. Well, let me just tell you this, my journey is not over with yet, and I know that a lot of y'all journeys are not over with yet, but here's the thing, we can't beat ourselves up and just outdo each other and knock each other on the ground and stuff like that, because of shortcomings, okay? We just need to understand our shortcomings and do something about them. We can't turn a blind eye to them, and then here's the thing, if you really, really, really want to be more than what you are, you got to think about those things that you got to think about those things that is missing in you. Read some more books. Really think about, the important stuff. And if you are going to do this, do not share it on YouTube and all that crap. These are personal things for you. It's time to make personal again. And just remember what you share to other people, make sure it's within reason when you do things. Alright? That's the number one thing. Within reason. But, hey, I've already said what I need to say, and I'm going to thank all of you for being patient with me, and thanks for taking the time to listen to this episode, or those who will listen to this episode. But I got to get on going. This is J-Man signing off. Peace.